approval of bids for the renovation and expansion of Chapin High School, shown in Exhibit H. Can I have a motion, Ms. Watson?
You need a recommendation first?
Okay, we'll get with that and we'll have our discussion.
I move that the district
Go ahead.
I move that the district administration is hereby authorized to enter into a contract with the lowest responsible and responsive bidder for an amount not to exceed $45,940,500 in response to the district's invitation to bid advertised September 18, 2011 for the renovation and expansion of Chapin High School. The district administration is authorized to execute the contract at such time as there is no legal impediment to doing so.
Ms. Hammond seconds, and that, this time, Mr. McAllister, if you'll respond.
Well, that's pretty much covered. I was just going to tell you that this amount does include the base bid and all four options.
Mr. Gann, I would like Mr. Ross, Akil Ross, the principal of Chapin, to come forward and address. Raised earlier this evening, even in public participation, about the capacity of the school. This is an issue that's been, people have gone on record, testified before the courts about. We've had architects look at, we've had principals look at, and Mr. Ross and his staff have looked at it. And I would like you to comment on the capacity of the school as you saw it.
Members of the board, Dr. Hefner, I stand before you today to attest that with your vote on the renovations and additions to Chapin High School, there will be more than enough adequate space. Currently have 91 teachers, 23 of which are in portables right now. With the completion of the new renovations and construction, I'll have a total of 103 classrooms. This does not include 8 science labs, and it doesn't include the 4 computer labs. When all teachers are teaching, if I have all 103 teachers teaching, 75% of them will be teaching, the other 25% will be planning. That will leave me with an average class size of 22. That school will hold 1,700 students. This information has been vetted and reviewed by the SIC, my administration, my faculty, and I stand here for any questions.
Mr. Ross, I appreciate you doing that, and I really wasn't planning on you getting questions tonight, but we've had so much misinformation about what we're going to get ready to approve to build at Chapin High School. And I know you have reviewed that time and again with our architects, and I asked you about that probably a month ago through Dr. Fuller. And I appreciate you bringing that tonight, because I don't think anybody would know the status of Chapin High School better than the principal who's on the site, that's counted, and looked at it, and lives it every day. So thank you for giving that report. Thank you.
Could I add a point to that? I think it's relevant. We went through this whole exercise of does this hold 1,700 students before we approved these plans, and that was before Dr. Hefner was here. That was before Ms. Murphy sat on this board, and she sat in the audience and raised these same questions. And I can personally tell you, I sat in this microphone and watched the architects almost turn blue for the umpteenth time saying it will hold 1,700 people. And if our principal, the architects, our construction manager, and Keith McAllister, who's in charge of our construction projects, and the people who are going to run these schools are not capable of making that computation, then nobody is. But this was done long before we even got to this process of putting this out to bid.
Any other comments or questions? Ms. Murphy?
Yeah, I've got several concerns, and it's related to jumping ahead so quickly on this bid, since it is considerably over the estimate, as Mr. Yates indicated, that the architects estimated a month ago the budget to be $30 to $32 million. And that was a month ago. I represented to the contractors at the mandatory pre-bid meeting. The bids came in substantially higher, and from what I understand from contractors who bid the job, the project is over-designed. But that still doesn't explain how it went from 30 million to 43.4, and I guess with the ad alternates, it's 45.9. I have a kind of a history of how, what's been represented to the public and documents on file. The numbers don't seem to add up. So if we're $13 million over budget, where is that money going to come from?
Any other comments?
No, I'm asking a question. I don't know, would you like to address that?
You know, off the top of my head, the first thing that comes to my mind is that in Dr. Hefner's demonstration tonight, the big rock at the bottom of the pile was Chapin High School. And so I think that the commitment has to be to Chapin High School. And then we'll see how many more little rocks we can put into the bucket. But at this point in time, I think these folks have earned it.
Well, I totally agree.
During the public participation, I heard the finance man I know is sitting right over there, and if anybody can find the dollars to do it, it would be he and Mr. Hefner. Dr. Hefner.
All right, well, I totally agree with, the Chapin ought to be first. My concern is, you know, we started to make some promises to Irmo High and Dutch Fork High. Are we skimping on the high school? Where, can we just lay out where the money's going to come from so we have a good plan of attack? I don't know how we can justify approving $13 million over budget in 10 minutes' time.
May I respond to that, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
The bond referendum was for the 244 million, whatever the amount was. That's the dollar amount we're working against, and whatever we approve out of the bond referendum revenues come out of that particular figure. And with the approval of this project tonight, we'll have $46 million left in that pot. And again, not every one of those rocks may not get done, but that's why we have to prioritize. We start with the rock number one, which is the anchor rock at the bottom of this march where we are now, and I recommend that we proceed.
Mr. Baumgartner, you were next. Mr. Turner.
Okay. Well, I understand that because of the delays that the project keeps getting higher. We've gotten increased cost in fuel and construction costs. It doesn't surprise me that it keeps getting higher, but the problem is the more we delay, the higher it's going to get. And I want to move as expeditiously on this project as we possibly can, but it's delayed and these students have suffered long enough.
And I saw Mr. Whitley end up there, but you needed his expertise. Mr. White.
Well, I'm going to ask somebody I mean, when I look at this, I'm out like with Dr. Hefner or Keith or Mr. Whitley to explain this whole concept now, because I mean, we're sitting here, and in my mind, you bid something, and it's a free market. People come bid or decide not to bid, and we know some people did not decide to bid because they were a little turned off by all the litigation on the site. But the fact of the matter is, we can't make people bid lower than what they bid, and so whatever our architects estimated is a nice thing, but there's no reason for us to go reconcile and figure. I mean, we got, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bids. So, you know, can y'all reconcile? Because this just sounds like more extraneous, irrelevant, misrepresented information that doesn't fit in this analysis. I just think that it needs to be articulated so people can get the right facts.
I'll start off and I'll let Chris fill in the gaps. We had, I think, 11 general contractors that purchased plans and looked at it. We actually, on bid day, if I remember correctly, we opened 8 bids. So we actually had 8 closed bid. What I can tell you is that in 2009, if you'll remember, I talked about the need to get these projects on the street because we were getting lots of bang for our buck in the fact that construction costs were down and we needed to take advantage of the market. It's now 2011, and one of the things that comes to mind is some of the competition that had those prices down hasn't survived. And so, you know, the number of folks still in the business is up. Construction costs have gone up in the last 2 years. You know, so that's a major impact on this. The budget that I think was shared at the pre-bid meeting was $32 million. That was our budget. But our estimates as of 10/31 were for a base bid of about $40 million. So, you know, but it actually came in a little above that.
Yeah, I think he just hit the nail on the head. I mean, at the time of that pre-bid construction, no estimate has been done by us on this project for probably a year and a half. Our estimate was not completed on this construction set of documents until October 31st, which was probably about 3 weeks after that pre-bid meeting. What I believe was referenced during that pre-bid meeting was the budget, which is $32 million, and is public information, obviously. Now, some of our prior estimates, as the project was first getting underway, the market was in a very different climate at that point. We were able to apply some market adjustments based on the projects that we were bidding in this district. If you'll recall, when we bid Chapin Elementary School, we were 37% under a normal market when we bid this project that we're at today. And as we went along with some of the other elementary schools, we saw 20% on the project, 17% on the project, under standard market value. So at the time of some of the early estimates, we were anticipating that had the project come to bid as we had hoped.
So can I try to restate that? Basically, when we were in a depressed market, prices were down, so our early estimates were very low. Is that what you just, and then,
Correct.
so now that 18 months has gone by, we're actually a little over a year late bidding this, but the prices have gone back up. Are they now back to normal prices?
My take on that is they're actually above the normal market value. At least that's what we saw on this project.
So-
And there's some other reasons behind that, I believe, but that is what we saw.
So we've swung from 37% below market prices to now above market prices. And that's why we have an estimate that was based on some number dramatically below market prices no longer fits today's world.
If you think back when we first started talking about alternates on this project, our estimates were coming in at 36 to 37 million range, and that was the reason we came up with what was originally our 5 alternates that we were going to try and hedge our bet with a little bit. Well, we lost the 5th one whenever we removed the field, when we lost the 3rd field, which is the one down in the stream. Okay? And we gave up those, and we cut the mitigation credits in half and forfeited that 3rd field. That took away one of our alternates that we ended up bidding. But at that time, we had it estimated at about